What is the quickest way to get XP in Minecraft? Let's face it, there are hundreds of videos out there claiming they have the best and fastest XP farm. But which of those farms is really worth building in your Minecraft world? What farm will impress your friends and server mates? Let's find out so you can look like me with constant orbs of XP surrounding you. In this video, I'm going to compare 4 different popular methods of XP farming to determine which is the quickest and best farm. All farms are built in Minecraft Bedrock version 1.21 and should work on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, mobile, and PC Bedrock version. But that's enough talk. Let's get into it. Now that this farm is built, let's talk about the mechanics for a little bit. First, you'll need a spawning platform. Mine is about 25 blocks above the killing location at the bottom here. In the center of the spawning platform, I have an endermite and a minecart. That endermite is used to lure the enderman into the killing chute here. At the top of the chute, you can use trapdoors. In my case, I'm using portal fans that tricks the enderman's pathing so that they think that there's a solid block there, which tricks them to walking over, and then they fall into the killing chamber at the very bottom. Once they've fallen down, they're ready to kill. In this case, we'll be using a sword, as endermen are not able to be killed with tridents, as tridents are considered projectiles. So one thing I like to add in my farm is an additional endermite, so that the endermen are lured to the front here, so it makes it easier to AFK while killing them with a sword. One thing to note is you'll definitely need mending on your sword if you're AFKing at this farm for a long time. And also, I typically would want a sharpness 5, so it's easier to kill these endermen in 1 or 2 hits after they've fallen. So now that we've talked about the mechanics, let's test this farm out. Alright, we made it. After an hour of testing the Enderman Farm, we ended up with just over 48 levels. It may be tempting to compare the rates of each farm by total levels. However, generally, the higher level you get, the more raw XP points you need to level up. So in my comparisons of the rates, I'm going to be looking at the total XP points. And in our case here, 48 levels is about 4,800 raw XP points. And for purposes of simplicity, I'm going to be using that number to calculate the XP rate of this farm. So on Minecraft Bedrock, an Enderman Farm will produce about 80 raw XP points per minute at the 4,800 XP points per hour. Did everybody take note of that? Because we're going to be comparing each of these farms at the end of the video. And in that case, let's move on to the next method. The second method of farm is built. Credit is where credit is due. This farm design is by Silent Whisper. Link in the description for reference. However, I've made minor adjustments to how each trident killer is connected via the water streams. Before we test this farm, let me go over the mechanics briefly, albeit Silent Whisper's tutorial will explain everything much better than my brief overview. So in Minecraft Bedrock, there are specific spawn locations within the bounding box of the ocean monument. This is the same for every single seed, every single world. And so this farm is designed to only allow one specific location in each spawning column for the guardians to spawn. Right now, they will not be spawning because the farm is turned off. Once we turn on the farm, pistons will retract, allowing water to fill the spawning locations. And then the water will push each guardian into a trident killer adjacent to it. If we look at each of these kind of modules down there, each of those is the spawning location, and each of those is 2 pistons, one to block the water currently. Once we turn on the farm, that water will be gone. And then the second is a trident killer, which will kill the guardians. And then each is connected via water streams. The water streams will come all the way up to this bubble column, hitting all the drops directly to our item collection area. And then once we're in the AFK spots, all of the experience, once we turn on this leveler, will start to flow directly to us. So with that out of the way, let's test out this farm. And as you can see, the redstone is turned on, and we'll see the guardians aiming at us. And it will take just a couple seconds here for the items to start funneling in. And there we go. And soon the XP will follow. And there we go.
1 hour later.
After an hour of testing, I ended with 175 levels, almost 176. So let's round up to 176 just to keep things a little simpler. So 176 levels is a total of about 113,012 total XP points. To calculate that per minute, that'll give us 1,883 XP points per minute for this Guardian farm. One quick note before we move on to the next method. If you're curious where I'm getting the total XP calculated, I'm using a website called MinecraftXPCalculator.com. Link is in the description if you're curious. With that test finished, let's move on to the next method. With the Blaze Farm now built, I'm going to explain how this farm works briefly. The concept behind the Blaze Farm is that you set up a collection area close to a blaze spawner. You can see a blaze spawner up there. And you need a way to transport the blaze into a killing chamber, in my case using a trident killer. In my farm, I'm using minecarts to transfer them, and then pistons and an activator rail to push them into the trident killer. Pretty simple overall, albeit a little dangerous in the nether, so I recommend building an area where you can kind of keep yourself safe while you're AFKing at the farm. I also recommend having a respawn anchor so that you can spawn in case something happens, and a chest here to put valuable items is always super great. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see a tutorial for this farm. This is my own design. I don't know if it's the most efficient or not, but it works pretty well. So let me know if you want to see a tutorial on my channel for this farm. And in that case, let's test this farm out. Some of the unique things about this farm, just to note, is so we use minecarts to send it off. So to start the farm, you have to turn on the trident killer, and then we send the minecart 1, and space them out so they don't hit each other. 2, 3. And I like to do 3. 3 is a good amount, so it kills them pretty quickly. And anyway, let's test this for an hour and see how the XP goes. After an hour of testing the Blaze Farm, I ended with about 62.5 levels. 62.5 levels is about 9,600 total XP points. So this Blaze Farm with one Blaze spawner produces about 660 XP per minute. One thing to note, it is possible for 2, maybe even 3 Blaze spawners to spawn close enough together. You have multiple spawners active at once. This could potentially increase the total production of a Blaze Farm significantly. But that would be an interesting experiment for another time. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. And with this test out of the way, we'll move on to the last method. With the last of the 4 farms built, let's go over the mechanics briefly. This farm uses one of the newest features in Minecraft 1.21, which is these new infestation potions. These potions, when an affected mob takes damage, they will spawn silverfish for every tick of damage. So in this case, we have 5 LA. They will take damage once affected by the infestation potion. When we light the fire using the flint and steel, we have the fire on for about a minute and 15 seconds or so, controlled by this hopper clock here. And then many silverfish will spawn, and then down here they will be funneled into. This farm design was inspired by another video by a YouTuber named Rediscovering Redstone. Link in video description. However, I've made a few adjustments so this farm can be AFKable, as his design is typically just a one-time use and then free to go. So first, I added some more storage for the infestation potions, splash water bottles, and the flint and steel. I also added a hopper clock here with a new copper bulb, which acts as a T flip-flop connected to a hopper clock. That way this will turn on the farm automatically every 2.5 to 3 minutes or so. The timing will allow the allays to regain health before we return on the fire, damaging them. And the last thing I added was this ring of magma blocks around the farm. As you can already see in some of my testing, the silverfish are really good at escaping this farm, and the magma blocks will just kill them off, allowing them, minimizing the amount of lag, as there are many silverfish that spawn. So with all that explanation out of the way, let's go ahead and test out this farm. With another hour of testing complete, ended with 120 total levels. Now if we can convert that to XP points, that's about 48,000 XP points, which would in turn be about 800 XP per minute from this infestation silverfish allay farm. And with all the tests completed, let's compare each method. With our first method, the Enderman Farm, we have rates of about 80 XP per minute, ending with 48 total levels. The second method, the Guardian Farm, produced 1,883 XP per minute, ending with almost 176 total levels. The third farm, the Blaze Farm, gave me 62 levels, producing about 160 XP per minute. And the last method or farm, the Infestation or Silverfish Farm, produced 120 levels with a rate of about 800 XP per minute. So if your goal is purely for XP, the best rate of the 4 methods is the Guardian Farm. However, I am impressed with the Infestation Farm. The biggest benefit of that farm is it can be built anywhere in your Minecraft world. Instead of having to kill a couple Elder Guardians and build a Guardian Farm at an ocean monument. I also want to note the Blaze Farm is great for XP, but it's really mainly for getting the Blaze rods, and purely for an XP farm, it falls a bit short. And the biggest disappointment is the Enderman Farm. The spawn of Enderman is just too slow in Bedrock version. Plus, without Sweeping Edge, killing the Enderman takes too long. Mojang, please give us Sweeping Edge in Bedrock version, please. So overall, I'd recommend building either a Guardian Farm or an Infestation Farm, or build both. They're both great. That way you'll never have to worry about not having enough levels to enchant your gear, or not having a way to repair that gear that's enchanted with mending. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see any other farms tested and compared to these 4, and we'll see if we can find one that can beat that Guardian Farm. And this has been some Minecraft Science. Thanks for watching.